1. Why Donkey Kong Bananza exists, the secret behind Nintendo's 3D Donkey Kong game. 2. Donkey Kong Bananza frame rate issues, Nintendo responds. 3. Donkey Kong Bananza early release, how to get it before everyone else. 4. Donkey Kong Bananza, Nintendo prioritizes destruction over perfect performance on Switch 2. 5. Donkey Kong Bananza, director talks frame rate drops and gameplay priorities. 1. Why Donkey Kong Bananza exists, the secret behind Nintendo's 3D Donkey Kong game. What if I told you that Nintendo's latest action-adventure masterpiece wasn't always planned for our hero Donkey Kong? But here's the shocker. The team behind Super Mario Odyssey's magic never set out to create a Donkey Kong game, until a key Nintendo executive stepped in with a bold challenge. The unexpected origins of Bananza. When Donkey Kong Bananza burst onto gaming radars, fans immediately presumed two things. 1. It was made by the Mario Odyssey crew, and 2. It started life as Mario-related content. The first was true. Producer Kenta Motokura confirmed the same team worked on both projects, but the second, a myth that's just been debunked. In an exclusive interview, Motokura revealed the game's origins trace back to Nintendo's Yoshiaki Koizumi. Known for helming Super Mario Odyssey, Koizumi approached the team with a clear directive: create a 3D Donkey Kong game. It's been over 2 decades since Nintendo internally developed a Donkey Kong title, the last being 2004's Jungle Beat, so why revive this franchise now? When asked for Koizumi's reasoning, Motokura hedged carefully. After all, speculating about a leader's motives can be risky. Nintendo has many characters, he explained, and timing plays a big role in choosing which ones to spotlight. His suggestion hints at strategic character rotation, but the real answer remains locked in Koizumi's creative process. How DK's strength became the game's core. Entirely new challenges emerged when adapting Donkey Kong for 3D. The team reached out to the character's creator, Shigeru Miyamoto, for inspiration. He emphasized Donkey Kong's unique abilities, Motokura shared, like powerful hand slaps and breath attacks. These actions feel inherently DK, but how do you translate them into engaging gameplay? Simultaneously, a programmer experimented with Voxel technology, 3D environments built from blocks, similar to Lego bricks. While Mario Odyssey used voxels sparingly, like digging through cheese or snow, this dev wanted to push the concept further, manipulating blocks, throwing debris, and reshaping worlds. But attaching this tech to a character, who better than the strongest primate in the Nintendo universe? The turning point: strength meets strategy. Here's where the puzzle pieces clicked. Donkey Kong's brute force plus voxel environments equals destruction-driven gameplay. His long arms and raw power matched perfectly with voxel technology's flexibility, Motokura explained. Instead of simply traversing landscapes, DK would smash and rebuild them, a mechanic that feels both visually stunning and mechanically satisfying. But here's the part that stirs debate. Should a 3D Donkey Kong game prioritize platforming or environmental destruction? While Mario games focus on precision jumps, Bananza leans into chaotic creativity. This raises a crucial question: does this shift alienate longtime DK fans, or does it redefine what 3D platforming can be? We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Beyond Bananza, canon questions and console controversies. The game's lore and tech choices raise additional discussions. 1. Canon confusion. Nintendo declined to specify Bananza's place in DK history, leaving players to piece together connections between characters like Pauline, now 13 years old, and other game worlds. Is this intentional ambiguity frustrating or intriguing? 2. Switch 2 launch. The game was initially planned for Switch 1 but upgraded to Switch 2. Was this a generous upgrade for fans, or a strategic move to showcase next-gen capabilities? Your turn, join the conversation. Koizumi's decision to revive Donkey Kong in 3D sparks big questions. Was this a calculated risk to breathe new life into a classic character, or a missed opportunity to explore Mario's universe further? Does Bananza's destruction-centric gameplay feel fresh or formulaic? Share your thoughts below and check out our full developer interview, https://www.ign.com/articles/r-big-bananaz-of-developers-of-Donkey Kong for deeper insights into Bananza's creation and our hands-on preview. https://www.ign.com/articles/donkey-kong-bananza- is the switch 2s true successor to Super Mario Odyssey. Rebecca Valentine is a senior reporter for IGN. Follow her on Blue Sky at duckvalentine.bsky.social or email valentine@ign.com with gaming tips. 2. Donkey Kong Bananza frame rate issues, Nintendo responds. Brace yourself, Nintendo's latest Donkey Kong adventure, Donkey Kong Bananza, is already stirring up debate, and it hasn't even hit store shelves yet. The buzz? Frame rate hiccups that some players have noticed in early previews. But here's where things get interesting. Donkey Kong Bananza is set to be the second major first-party exclusive for the Nintendo Switch 2, following in the footsteps of Mario Kart World. What's surprising is that, just like Mario Kart World, development for Donkey Kong Bananza actually began on the original Switch. So why did Nintendo decide to make it a Switch 2 exclusive instead of releasing it across both generations? Game director Kazuya Takahashi from Nintendo EPD shed some light on this in a recent interview with Spanish outlet La Vanguardia. According to Takahashi, the team's vision for Bananza centered around creating a seamless chain of destruction, think massive numbers of breakable objects, dynamic materials, and large-scale environmental chaos. Achieving this level of detail and interactivity simply wasn't possible on the original Switch hardware. The Switch 2, with its upgraded capabilities, allowed the developers to fill the screen with destructible elements and deliver more immersive effects, sounds, and visuals when things get smashed. In other words, the technical leap was essential for the experience they wanted to deliver. But here's the part most people miss. When previewers got their hands on Donkey Kong Bananza, some noticed the frame rate wasn't always buttery smooth. When asked about these performance dips, Takahashi explained that some of the slowdowns are actually intentional. The team used effects like hit-stop and slow motion to make impacts feel more dramatic. Plus, the game's use of voxel technology means that when the environment undergoes major changes, like huge destruction events, performance can take a slight hit. Takahashi acknowledged these moments but emphasized that, overall, the game runs smoothly and that fun and playability were always the top priorities, even if it meant sacrificing a few frames during the most chaotic scenes. And this is where opinions might split. Should a flagship Nintendo title ever compromise on performance, even for the sake of spectacle? Or is it worth it if the gameplay feels more satisfying and exciting? Nintendo doesn't seem too concerned, but the real test will come when Donkey Kong Bananza officially launches on Thursday, July 17th. Only then will we see just how noticeable these frame rate issues are, and whether they impact the overall enjoyment of the game. We'll be sharing our full review as soon as the embargo lifts, so stay tuned. In the meantime, you can check out our hands-on impressions for a sneak peek. But now, we want to hear from you. Do you think it's acceptable for a big Nintendo release to have occasional performance drops if it means a more explosive, interactive experience? Or should smooth gameplay always come first? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. This is one debate that's sure to get people talking. 3. Donkey Kong Bananza early release. How to get it before everyone else. Imagine the excitement of finally getting your hands on the latest installment of a beloved franchise, only to find out that someone else has already beaten you to it. That's the situation unfolding with Donkey Kong Bananza, set to hit the shelves on July 17, 2025. While most of us are eagerly counting down the days, it appears that at least one lucky, or perhaps not so lucky, individual has managed to secure a copy ahead of time. But here's where it gets controversial. A Reddit user has shared photos of their case and cartridge for the official release of Donkey Kong Bananza. You can check it out for yourself on Reddit, https://old.reddit.com/r/1live/dk_bananza_just_got_copy. If one copy has made its way into the hands of an eager gamer, it's likely that more will follow. This means that if you're trying to avoid spoilers, you'll need to be extra vigilant over the next few days. Screenshots and videos could start popping up online, and it might be tough to steer clear of them. Nintendo, of course, isn't going to be thrilled about this early release. However, since it's only a few days ahead of the official launch, the damage might be minimal. As of now, the only evidence of the early release is the photos shared by the Reddit user. But who knows how long that will remain the case. And this is the part most people miss. The anticipation for a new game release is always high, and it's easy to get caught up in the excitement. But it's important to remember that these early leaks can sometimes spoil the fun for everyone else. It raises an interesting question: should retailers be more strict about enforcing street dates, or is it just part of the gaming culture to expect some leaks? What do you think? Should early releases be strictly enforced, or is it all part of the fun? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's discuss. 4. Donkey Kong Bananza. Nintendo prioritizes destruction over perfect performance on Switch 2. As excitement builds for the upcoming release of Donkey Kong Bananza, Nintendo's development team has revealed a bold design philosophy that prioritizes gameplay satisfaction and the thrill of destruction over flawless performance. In a recent interview with La Vanguardia, producer Kenta Motokura and director Kazuya Takahashi shed light on the creative journey behind this highly anticipated Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. The team has made it abundantly clear that destruction is not merely a feature but the very heart of the game, shaping every aspect of its design. According to Motokura, the entire team decided early on that destruction would be the central theme of the game. All gameplay elements were developed around that idea. This commitment to destruction presented unique challenges, particularly in the realm of level design. Takahashi explained, "One of our major challenges was level design, especially the underground levels where players can dig through terrain to uncover power-ups. We implemented an underground camera system to make this excavation experience more immersive. This digging reward loop is one of our biggest technical achievements." While some players might draw comparisons to Minecraft, Motokura was quick to clarify that the game's vision was not influenced by any specific title. Instead, it was born from the creative minds at Nintendo EPD shortly after the release of Super Mario Odyssey in 2017. Initially planned for the first Switch, the project evolved and expanded, necessitating the power of the Switch 2 to support large-scale destructible environments. To support large-scale destructible environments and ensure visual continuity, we needed the power of Switch 2, Takahashi explained. Despite generally solid performance, early demonstrations have drawn attention to noticeable frame rate drops during certain segments. Takahashi acknowledged this, explaining that some visual effects like slow motion are intentional to emphasize impacts. Also, voxel-based destruction can cause performance dips during large-scale changes. We prioritized gameplay satisfaction over perfect performance in those moments. Donkey Kong Bananza, set for release on July 17, 2025, promises to be a 3D platformer that takes players on an underground adventure with Donkey Kong and a young Pauline. They must reclaim stolen banana-shaped diamonds from a group of villainous apes. The game features sandbox-style level design, building on mechanics established in Odyssey, while introducing dynamic terrain destruction as a core part of both progression and discovery. Players can forge paths, uncover hidden items, and reshape the environment in real time using Donkey Kong's raw strength. But here's where it gets controversial. While some players may appreciate the creative freedom offered by destructible environments, others might argue that the occasional frame rate dips detract from the overall gaming experience. And this is the part most people miss. How do you feel about sacrificing performance for gameplay satisfaction? Do you think the thrill of destruction justifies the occasional performance hiccup, or should developers strive for a perfect balance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Written by Salal Awan, co-founder of Twisted Voxel, who enjoys exploring the latest in technology and photography in his spare time. 5. Donkey Kong Bananza, director talks frame rate drops and gameplay priorities. Donkey Kong Bananza fans are divided by choppy gameplay moments. But here's where it gets controversial. Some early testers are buzzing about frame rate dips in the much-anticipated Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. Overall, the buzz around Donkey Kong Bananza has been overwhelmingly positive. Critics and influencers alike have praised its vibrant worlds and dynamic gameplay. Yet, among those lucky enough to try a preview build, a few have spotted occasional stutters when it should be running smoothly at 60 frames per second. The game hits its mark most of the time, but certain scenarios reveal noticeable slowdowns, and that's raising eyebrows. Kazuya Takahashi, the game's director, recently spoke with LaVanguardia about these performance hiccups. He explained that some of the most impressive visuals come with a technical price. "We wanted hits to really pack a punch," Takahashi said, referencing built-in effects like hit-stop and brief slow-motion sequences designed to emphasize every impact. On top of that, the team chose Voxel technology for environmental details. By crafting levels out of tiny, cube-like units, the environments can break apart in spectacular fashion. However, when multiple voxels collapse at once, say, during a massive explosion, you might notice a slight drop in frame rate. Despite these moments, Takahashi stresses that Nintendo always put gameplay and enjoyment first. "Yes, you may see a minor dip during large-scale destruction, but the overall experience remains smooth," he noted. According to Takahashi and producer Kenta Motokura, these choices allow players to feel the full weight of Donkey Kong's world without sacrificing the thrill of exploration. And this is the part most people miss. Beyond performance debates, the team has shared fascinating backstories about Bananza's origins on the original Nintendo Switch, why we're finally getting a brand new 3D Donkey Kong adventure, and even the surprising inclusion of a young Pauline. So what's your take? Are momentary slowdowns a fair trade-off for jaw-dropping destruction and cinematic flair? Should Nintendo have dialed back these effects to guarantee a rock-solid 60 frames per second? Or is ensuring the game feels fun and immersive more important than technical perfection? Dive into the debate below and let us know your thoughts.